is David, coming to you live for our top 10. And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 JRPG franchises that need to be rebooted. Remember those series that made up your childhood that you just loved? They just filled up the libraries of those golden age consoles spanning from the NES all the way to the PlayStation 2. Then the HD era hit and they just went to the wayside. What happened to them? Where'd they all go? Some series keep on going on when they probably should end. And then we got introduced to other series that are just full of boobs and anime tropes. My, how the mighty have fallen. It's time to bring back those old franchises at the forefront of your mind. So, let's go.
Number 10, Shadow Hearts. Not all that long ago, the Golden Age ended. When the PlayStation 2 was succeeded by the HD era, many series fell to the wayside, Shadow Hearts being one of them. All three of the Shadow Hearts games were released on the PlayStation 2, and as one of the few horror RPGs, the series immediately gained a loyal following. Add to the fact that the games take place in an alternate reality Earth, where demons and magic are the norm, the series is through and through a unique gem. The first game takes place on the eve of World War I, Covenant delves into the midst of the fighting of the war, and from the New World, switches perspectives to America in 1929 during the height of the Roaring Twenties on the eve of the Great Depression. With each playing as a traditional turn-based RPG but with a Judgment Ring twist, the games appeal to a large crowd, such as horror fans, history buffs, and just fans of the genre. But then, just as suddenly as the games appeared, they vanished, never to be seen or heard from again. There's not even a spin-off to speak of. Number 9. Golden Sun. It's not every day that a developer comes out with a truly unique concept and does it in a way that hasn't been done before and actually implements it well the first time around. In any other game, Synergy would just be your basic magic system, used solely for battle, but not here. Your character's abilities had a direct impact on the world. They could be used in towns to manipulate objects and characters as well as in dungeons for puzzle solving. The first two games are so intricately designed that just about everyone was waiting with bated breath for the sequel. And while Dark Dawn was okay, it didn't meet the high bar the previous game set, and unfortunately, there is no fourth game to transfer your progress to. Hopefully Camelot can stop making golf games and focus on a Switch revival of this pivotal series. Number 8. Popolo Croix. Here's a series not that well known in the West, but it follows a familiar pattern, with 3 releases for the PlayStation and 2 more for the PlayStation 2 before dropping off the face of the earth. However, in the West, all we got were the combined pseudo-port of 1 and 2 for the PSP, along with the farm story Gaiden for the 3DS. Popolo Croix started off with a bang as the first RPG released on the original PlayStation. However, being as it was 2D, Sony of America passed it up in favor of Beyond the Beyond. The series was so popular in Japan that it spawned 2 anime shows, a manga, and a novel series. Anyone who's ever played the incredibly underrated masterpiece on the PSP knows the potential of the series. It's as if Lunar and Earthbound had a love child, and it's anyone's guess as to why the series is now just relegated to obscurity. Number 7, Grandia. Every time I think of Grandia, I just get depressed. I think of what could have been. Debuting on the original PlayStation, it entered into a crowded field, but quickly made a name for itself by doing everything right. It's a traditional series, but with a twist. The battle system is strategic and allows for canceling enemies' attacks, as well as strategic placement on the field. Couple that with a saga-type leveling system for your weapons and magic, and we have a winner. The series really shined with its first 2 installments that focused on a character-driven story through a vibrant, gorgeous world, complete with humorous dialogue. The scope of the adventure was simply grand. With 3 more releases on the PS2, including a dungeon-crawling jaunt, as well as a Japan-only outing on the Game Boy Color, it was poised for greatness. However, like many others on this list, it fell victim to the PlayStation 3's curse. That being said though, I think the time is ripe for a reboot now that the HD collection is right around the corner. Number 6, Sucodon. Here's something awfully familiar. Death by HD! Sucodon flew under the radar for me. I picked it up the same day that I got Wild Arms and Beyond the Beyond when I was at the Software Etc. at the mall. I got the original PlayStation for my 15th birthday along with Final Fantasy VII, and I wanted to grab any other RPGs that I had previously missed for the system. I fell in love with all 3 of the games that I got that day, and it seemed to be going strong with not only 6 console releases, but 2 portable installments as well. There was so much potential for more with the established history, lore, and world building. It really does seem a shame for Konami to just drop it like a bad habit. Even to this day, I get upset because we never did get a game tying up the entire series, or at least one set in Harmonia. Number 5. Lunar. Here's a strange bird. I mean, it seems like the series survives in remakes alone. The first 2 were originally released for the Sega CD, then remained for the Saturn, then ported over to the PlayStation where I and many others were first introduced to them. Then there was Walking School on the Game Gear, which was also remade, and the less said about Dragon Song, the better. That was just an abomination. I would love to see a true sequel to the series in the same vein as Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue. The setting, characters, combat, music, and humor just never got old. In fact, the old school cartoony 2D style graphics would still hold up great today if it was released digitally, since now with the abandonment of both the Vita and the 3DS, even portable systems are now a thing of the past. Just please, for the love of God, don't further destroy the franchise by going mobile. Number 4. Wild Arms. Wild Arms was one of the first RPGs offered on Sony's fledgling PlayStation console. As one of the only RPGs firmly set in the Wild West, boasting puzzle-solving mechanics, unique character customization, and scenario systems, it set itself apart from the crowd. When the sequel was announced, now with more party members but still set on Filgaia, I knew that the series was something special. The next 3 installments were released on the PlayStation 2 and they kept to their roots, continuing that tradition of puzzles, scenarios, and the dying planet of Filgaia, but also branching out with the Hex battle system in the last 2 entries. I have said it before and I will say it again, it's one of the best battle systems ever created. Wild Arms 5's rendition of Filgaia was expansive, and I couldn't wait till the PlayStation 3 was released, and with it, Wild Arms 6! Only we never got it. Nothing came, except for XF, a strategy spin-off for the PSP, which was pretty cool in and of itself, but it just can't take the place of a mainline game. Number 3. Lufia. Unlike many of the others on this list, this series didn't die with the PlayStation 2. In fact, it never even made it to the first one. Instead, we're treated to a series that seems to keep reinventing itself with every installment. The first one was pretty much just a straight-up Dragon Quest clone, and it was with the second that the series hit its zenith. It's widely regarded by many JRPG fans as the greatest game of all time, with its spectacular story, hidden secrets, and downright devious puzzles. However, instead of building upon that success, the third entry reinvented itself again by dropping the acclaimed puzzles and instead installing random dungeons. However, the battle system is truly innovative. To this day, I've still never seen anything quite like it. Then the fourth entry tried so hard to go back to what made the second entry great, only they really couldn't recapture the magic, and it instead resorted to a Dragon Quest-esque job system, resulting in easily the worst game of the series. Then, again, they revisited the second game, only to remake it as an action game. Good lord, people, it's not that hard. Quit reinventing the wheel and just give us another traditional JRPG with great story and characters, set it in Eastland or Midland, replete with dungeons and puzzles. It's not rocket science. Number 2, Breath of Fire. This was the jewel in Capcom's crown and the longest running series on this list, lasting an amazing 23 years. From its origins on the SNES to its downfall wallowing in the gutter of mobile games, it's still one of my favorites. I still actually have the Breath of Fire 2 strategy guide that I picked up on clearance rack for 50 cents at Media Play all those years ago. Many of you might not know or remember, but before, when a game sold out, the strategy guides were pretty much practically given away. But I digress. I'll never know why Capcom abandoned their unique take on the genre with anthropomorphic characters and their abilities that could be used both on the world map and in dungeons for puzzle solving. Back in the day, it was competing head-to-head with the likes of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, but it just seems like Capcom gave up after the 4th entry. Yeah, I am one of the few that actually doesn't mind Dragon Quarter. I mean, taken on its own, it is a good game. But don't even speak to me about that mobile gacha garbage over in Japan. Why is it that the really unique series keeps on getting cancelled, and then we just get bombarded with anime trash? Anyway, number 1, Phantasy Star. Why in the world was this fantastic series abandoned when it had so much potential? With the first entry released on the Master System and the last 3 on the Genesis, this was poised to become Sega's flagship RPG. I remember seeing it in the stores, hanging on the walls behind the cash registers, and being so jealous that I didn't have a Sega. Thank God for emulation. Each entry had you exploring at least 3 planets with their own fully functioning civilizations, firmly setting it apart from what was offered at the time from Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. I mean, if Sega could do planet exploration right back in the early 90s, why can't the Star Ocean series get it right today? 3 was kind of a bummer, but the 4th entry was stupendous, easily up there with the best of the 16-bit RPGs for the SNES. But then they just dropped it. And yeah, I do know that there are spin-offs like the online series, but it's just not the same. Could you imagine just how sick a modern revival of this series would be now that Sega isn't burdened with console development? Put that bad boy on the Switch and just watch how fast the games sell. Everyone who grew up with the games would just run out and buy it day one, including me, even though I'm still kinda sore about not having a Sega. Well, that's it for the top 10. I do have some honorable mentions though. Earthbound, the Mana series, and those portable Saga games masquerading as the Final Fantasy Legend. Whatever happened to those? Which JRPG series would you like to see rebooted? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.